Okay, well, hello to my YouTube subscribers, followers, and people that just peep in and be like, what's Amani got to say? Thank you so much for following me, for listening to my think pieces, even now for people leaving comments. But know that my channel is a user friendly zone, positive vibes only. So if there is something there that's really negative, just know it will not stay there. I believe that my own mental health is important, and that's why I actually chose to watch Love Island USA this year and to not go on Reddit and not really read the comments on the Instagram page because I find it to be so negative. I have learned about things that are happening because there are a couple of reviewers that I will see, what they have to say. So that's how I've learned about some of the negativity that's happened this season. But, that's, I believe for myself, mental health is huge, and I will deactivate and pause and delete or do what I need to. And I'm old enough to do that. But I just can't imagine what it's going to be like for some of the islanders when they come off and the things that they have to see. And it breaks my heart. As much as I'm honest with my reviews, I definitely try to be positive. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I'm too nice. Maybe I'm too nice to do reviews and think pieces, but I am just who I am. Like, this is me all the time. But okay, let me talk about some things now. So first of all, I do have to apologize for having a piece up where it was literally just my head because I was so tired, y'all. And it's hard for me to actually try to do things right after the show, but I didn't take any notes. I literally just took pictures of the screen, and I was like, you know what? I just want to say whatever I have to say and get it off my chest. So I'm just gonna set. I use a tablet. I'm just gonna set that up, and I'm just gonna do that. But so I didn't know because I was just so tired. I think it's like leaning over. I didn't know that literally that my neck and everything was cut off until the next day or whatever. And I was like, I don't care. Like, if I had time to try to like merge my avatar's body onto my head, I would have, or do another funny thing where my voice doesn't match what I'm saying. I'm like, I ain't got no time for that. I'm just gonna post what I had to say, and people will forgive me. It's okay. Anyways, now that that is off my chest, welcome to Amani's Vibe, and where I do what I like to call think pieces, and this is on Love Island USA. So here are some things that I learned about before I talk about what happened on last night's show, okay? So Ace apparently has a friend named Cookie, and Cookie has been quite negative online and saying things about CHELLEY, but I guess she has now apologized. Somebody else posted it because I told you I'm like off of Twitter, I'm off all those things, and it's pretty rough. And if this is Ace's best friend, like, it's like, okay, CHELLEY. um, I don't know, but I don't know if she was just doing that for attention because she was online. I don't know if people think when they're doing things online that it's just not going to reach the rest of the world or anybody, but it was pretty negative, and so I am glad that she has apologized. The other thing is it there is a general consensus that the fans have been very mean and making racist posts against CHELLEY and Alondria. And that happened just that one night where Alondria spoke her mind, probably for the first time. She's always been so graceful. She's been so calm about everything. I couldn't do it. And CHELLEY as well. And then all of a sudden, they were labeled as mean girls. And I don't understand it. But I talked about that earlier in one of my think pieces, how for Black women, we don't have the same rules as everyone else, and it is so unfair. you know just a little snippet into my real life is, I'm a writer, and I'm actually working on a play about Black women that kind of deals with these issues. And as a creative, I'm so glad I have an outlet of poetry or plays, you know, but not everybody has that, and it's just for me so sad this day and age. But listen, racism is alive and well, but that doesn't mean that we as an audience have to perpetuate all of the same things, you know? I think that the show is trying to be responsible. I think we can be responsible. I'm going to be responsible on my channel. There's definitely none of that that's going to happen here. But I think it is very sad, and I've seen it before. And each season, it seems to get crazier and crazier with the negativity. And I saw it during Justine's season, and that's really when I learned. I've said before, that was season 2, that the audience can really play a big part. Now, the audience during season 2, they were vying for Justine. Let me tell you, they were uplifting the black woman, okay? And I feel that it was really strong. It started in that season, and it continued into season 6 with PPG. Now, when PPG won the show, which is Serena, Janae, and Leah, they also had to deal with so much negativity. Imagine going from 2,000 followers to like 1 million or almost 1 million. That's what all of them had to deal with. But in particular, the fans of each of them, of Leah, of Janae, and of Serena, it's like they all kind of were vying, going against each other. And what I loved about PPG is that they made it clear that they were always together. They support each other in everything, even now. Leah has a new, it looks like she's like a creative director of a type of perfume, and they all posted. When Janae was on Destination X, Leah and Serena posted about Janae on Destination X, and vice versa. And that's kind of how they have decided to combat all of the negativity that happens online, to let people know that you can't separate us with your comments. We're still all friends. And to this day, they're still the same. I just watched an interview, and it was funny because they're the exact same as when they first won the show, definitely with a bit more media training. But their personalities and who they are, I think it's so nice that they're all still the same. Okay, so enough of that. Now let's get on to this season. So Taylor and Clark are gone, and Ace is really sad. And CHELLEY is there to comfort him. She lets him know that he can cry. And that's really important, though, too, that I feel like we never give men the grace to be emotional. It's such a double-edged sword, where it's like people are always like, yeah, we want men to be like this, we want them to do this, but then if they cry, it's like, oh, he's weak, he's this. But I think it's so important. I feel that we should raise our men to cry. It is okay to cry. It doesn't make you weak. They're normal emotions. I think if we can all express ourselves more in positive ways, it's good for us, okay? The other note I have here is that CHELLEY, man, she is like a cherub. Do you know what a cherub is? With her rosy red cheeks. Every time I see her, I'm like, she's just so beautiful. She's literally like a Haitian cherub. The cheeks are everything. The cheeks and the tan from Fiji, and I really love their vibe. So, and then I have a question here. I've been watching every season, and I look at all the makeup they put on, and I have a question for them. How do they do that? How do they wear all the makeup in the heat, and how does it look okay? Because honestly, I can't do that. You know, I'm not a heavy makeup person unless I'm in a show or doing something like that. And so I see them with the foundation. I mean, they all look beautiful, and a lot of it looks so natural, but I want to know about that. Anyway, okay. Back to the show. So I had some notes here about Huda, and my theory on Huda still stands. But her behavior on the show is completely unacceptable. And as I've said before, the producers did give like they gave people a chance for her to be voted off, but the Islanders, because they're all friends there, they kept her on both times, because definitely I believe that door was open where Huda might have been voted off early on after, what went on between her and Jeremiah. But her behavior and the things she says, like she's the queen of saying things under her breath, or like always having a comment or a retort. And I don't know if these are things that you heard, but they all really stand out to me. One was Taylor made a chair. It was the same night that he got booted off. And after he did the chair, Huda was like, oh, so aggressive. And I was like, what about Taylor's chair was aggressive? Like, I kind of didn't understand, okay? And because of how Huda has been, we can see Chris has been completely checked out. He stayed completely checked out because he can't have a conversation with Huda. We already saw this with Jeremiah. We even saw when Jeremiah realized, like, okay, maybe we moved too soon. I realized I shouldn't have slept with her. Let's try to dial it back and try to do this as a friendship. But Huda always goes off. So what she seems to have worked on really hard with her relationship with Chris, if we can call it a relationship, situationship with Chris, is not going off as much. Like she really has to work on trying to control her temper, and you see it. It's the reason that she walks off. It's hard for her to just deal with things, or constructive criticism, or she just seems to be in her own type of world a lot of the times where it's about Huda. I do believe that is from her being a young mother, and this is kind of like she used this show, I guess, as some type of vacation from her daughter and to just kind of live her best life. And I think in that, and also with her not seeing the show before and not understanding the show, I do believe that's why some things are happening. Okay? Now, I've said that before. She hasn't watched the show, and I feel like that's why, Chris is perplexed. Is like, how can you want to do all these things with me under the sheets, behind closed doors, but in person, you won't give me a kiss? Like, he doesn't get that. And it's really been tearing him up. And also, remember, Chris plays basketball. He's an international basketball player. I have friends that play ball. When you play ball, especially if you're in another country, you're from the States, you are a hot commodity, okay? And a lot of times, too, black men, black women, they're over-sexualized. And I don't know if that's what Chris is thinking about, that, she's just using him for that. And because then she's not talking to him in the daytime. And maybe that's something he's gone through with basketball, or maybe that's something he's gone through with relationships before. But he also stated that he's used to dating unstable people, which I don't think is good. So obviously he also has some issues that he has to deal with. But I just find that with Huda and her negativity, the negative comments, when Chris came, they were sitting around the table, and he put his arm around her, and she's like, don't touch me with your dirty hands. Like, I hate it when people do that. It's like, go on with your big head. These things that she says, like, bit by bit, I'm telling you, those things, they add up, okay? She's not yelling as much or whatever, but always insulting somebody, that takes a toll on people. I feel like those are the things that are wearing on Chris, outside of her not wanting to show any affection. And like I said, I don't know what that's about. My theory is that she's never seen the show before, and maybe she's not aware of maybe they told her there's cameras in the rooms, but maybe she's not aware that the cameras that are not on the main villa are still recording everything, and she's looking at it as how America, I'm in Canada though, how we are viewing the show, right? Jeremiah is gone, and she keeps saying she got hurt with Jeremiah from showing how she felt and just diving right into it. Members should be jumping on him. She's very sexualized. She uses that almost as a weapon. She hasn't been doing that with Chris because she's aware, to me, of the viewers watching the show. And she thinks that she can do that inside and under the covers because we, the viewers, can't see it. Little does she know, we can see everything. So that's my theory on that. And like I said, I'm always open to be wrong. I was wrong about Taylor and Alondria. I just thought maybe, they're editing out the parts where we see how close they are, because I know they did things like that before with Serena and Cordell, but no, I guess he really wasn't showing her any affection and she was just doing too much. So I'm always open to be wrong. These, again, it's a think piece. It's just kind of what I see when I'm watching the show. I'm just one person, right? I have here about Iris and Pepe l'Espanol, as I call him. I kind of don't get them, but I'm glad that they like each other. I like them as individuals. I've always liked Iris from the jump. But I kind of just don't understand the how they just got over Hannah and TJ so quick. At least that's how it feels. They're quick recoveries, and it is what it is. So I don't have much more to say about them. Oh, I do have one more thing. I'll say that after. Amaya just continues to be the free spirit that she is. She thinks she's a lizard. I don't know what's going on. But her and Brian, Brian, I do think he really likes her. It's hard to tell. You're watching TV. It's like, but I do think he genuinely likes her. I think he gets a kick out of her. He did say, with her being kind of so young and spirited and energetic, like maybe those are things that he lacks in his personality. He's definitely quieter, and so she brings that out in him. And he just seems to really enjoy her company. So I still like them together. I thought it was hilarious though when she was trying to put the plan together for Hood and Chris to talk, and she was using like medical terminology for like the bathroom. That had me weak. But yes, love Amaya Papaya. Her and Brian. I hope I said his name. Yeah, Amaya and Brian. So I like them. So now Nikki Pooh and Alondria. They're very cute. As I said, I'm not on the Nicolandria train. I didn't know about it. I only learned about it because of another reviewer talking about it. I haven't been online to look that stuff up. The things I looked up were just kind of like what they did before. So I definitely learned that Alondria loves to travel. And we learned that she's been to Thailand, and Chris has been to Thailand, okay? I think Alondria, I told you, every time, like I see her, I just think she's so beautiful. Her cheekbones, her eyes, everything. She's just so gorgeous. And I feel like Chris feels that way when he looks at her too. And Chris has been traveling the world, and so I'm not sure, but maybe he's a traveling nurse, but I know he's traveled many places to model. So maybe he gets to combine being a nurse and modeling, right? And I think that's really cool. But what do we know about Chris? I've said it from the jump. Chris, he loves the nookie, or as my older sister used to say, the cookie. And I think that Alondria, she makes him nervous. So I do like that because he can't do what he normally does with her. He can't do that thing where he matches their body language or what they say to try to, win them over, because they're already friends and she knows who he is. She knows that he slept with Sierra. Alondria knows all about him. So he has to be himself, and I feel like that's what the struggle is. Also, he's flirting with her, but Alondria, she only lets loose in the challenges, and that's because that's what her mother told her. But outside of that, she's kind of straight lace, right? So he kind of really doesn't know how to approach her. And then I'm thinking, like, she's from Alabama. Has she ever dated like white guys before? Has she ever dated outside of her culture before? That can also be a thing, like where she's from. It's an interracial relationship. There are other interracial relationships on the show. Taylor and Bergie, Hannah and Marco, from other seasons, and they're both still together. Hannah and Marco, they just got engaged. Taylor and Bergie, they're still together. Love Taylor and Bergie, by the way. I've always said that Taylor reminds me, Taylor from the season 5 reminds me of Clark. I don't have Clark on my notes here, but I just want to say I do really like her. She seems pretty cool. She's kind of quiet, And I'm pausing. things are gonna get easier. Ooh. Literally had to pause for a fan break because I even turned my air conditioning up, but man, talking like this takes a lot out of me. Anyways, I'm back. Whew. Okay, okay. Whew. Alrighty. Where was I? Yes. Yes, talking about Taylor from season 5. Taylor from season 5 reminds me of Clark. Even the relationship with Clark and our Taylor from season 7 reminds me of Bergie and Taylor from season 5. Okay, but enough of that. What I think is interesting about the audience of this show is that they're focused on the aesthetics, like how people look. So the Nicolandria people seem to be like all about who they are, but I'm like, who are they as people? You know what I mean? Like, I watch a show for the love. I want people to really fall in love, and it would be so great if there can be a real relationship that can happen after the show. I think what Nick and Alondria have is a great friendship and the beginning of exploring a romance, which is awesome, okay? That's all great. For me, I mean, I don't get to vote, but I wouldn't be voting for them to win because I want people to win that are really gonna be able to pursue a relationship, and maybe they can, but it's just the beginning, and we'll see more. We've got what, 2 nights left before the finale. It's crazy. Can't believe the show's almost over, but I do want us to think about kind of their backgrounds, where they come from. Nick definitely is open to all flavors, which is awesome. Alondria, the reason I'm wondering about that too is when she does ask about how they look. You know, she seems very conscious of how her and Nick appear. And I don't think it has anything to do with her talking to Taylor before. So that's why I wondered if she's ever been in an interracial relationship before. You know, kind of what her dating life was like. I have no idea. Again, this is a think piece. These are questions. I don't know. I haven't done like any deep dives into that type of research, and I don't want to. I'll find out more, you know, tonight with the. And isn't that it though? Chris can't do his usual play moves with Alondria. He can't do that thing he does, you know, where he matches the woman's body language that he's talking to, agrees with them, and is like, oh, I like that too. Or start talking about his percentages, you know, you're 50% and 20% and 80%. He just has to be himself. And maybe through all his traveling and all the things he's done, maybe he's not quite sure who that is yet. You know what I mean? Like, he's obviously been living his best life. And he's been living his best life in the villa. He's been having a lot of fun in the villa, and now he's with somebody that is a class act that he can't do all those things with, where he has to be himself, and that's what makes him nervous. Can I just also talk about one other thing? If they are going to have a relationship outside of the villa, do you guys remember the challenge where everybody said that he was always peeing on the seat a lot? Everybody? Okay, anyways, I'm just saying that's just something too if you're gonna be in a relationship. Like, everybody said that. Am I the only one that was taken aback? Like, everybody though. So you know it has to be bad. Okay, anyways, I digress. Let's get back to this. So yeah. So he can't do his usual play moves. Also, I've never been to Alabama, but that's where Alondria is from. I don't know what it's like there. I don't know about the demographics. I don't know if there are a lot of interracial relationships in Alabama. I don't know if Alondria's ever dated outside of her race before, but that could be a thing too. Like, this could be something new for her. There have been other interracial relationships on the show. I don't know what her background is or what her relationships were before the show. The other thing I think that's interesting about the Nick Alondria train that I don't understand, but from what I gather, it's Nick's family and her family that actually think that they would be good for each other, and they noticed their spark from the very beginning. I have not gone back to see all that. I believe y'all. I believe everybody, okay? Ooh, it's getting hot here. But I think I'm almost to the end of my notes. I'm probably going to have to stop and pause for a fan break because, woo, turned the air conditioner up and everything. Okay, so I was saying that people seem online to be always about the aesthetics, how people look. Oh, this couple looks so good together. And it's great if people are beautiful, if they're aesthetically beautiful and they're pleasing to the eye, but there's so much more to relationships than how people look. And I realize it's reality TV. We only get a short glimpse into these people's lives, but I don't know. I do try to think about the big picture, who they are. And I really, really, I am so disturbed by the negativity online. So I haven't gone to try to find what's happening. But I do hope that as much as people are shipping them, that there aren't people also being negative towards them. I think what is going to really, to me, solidify my thoughts on everybody, the family is coming to visit tonight. You know, what's that movie? Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? That's going to determine everything, the families. I can remember season one, first time I watched Love Island during COVID. I watched it on demand, and to this day, Cara V and Ray's, I think it was Ray's mother, when she met his family, and then season two, Celly's mother and Johnny, when Celly's family, and they were on the screen, but you could tell because they can see the show, they can see everything. So the families coming to me is going to actually put a lot more value on these relationships. It's also going to give us an inside scoop on how these young people are coming across to their family. What is Huda's family like? I believe, I'm not sure if Huda is from Iran or she's from the Middle East. I'm not sure where she's from. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. And then, Chris, he's African American or black. Who else is there? It'd be interesting to see like Alondria's family and Nick's family, and just kind of Nick's background. He's definitely seems to be what's the oh, there's a song. I'm a traveling man. I made a lot of stops. Okay, that's an old school, but like he's a traveler. Like he has that type of lifestyle. Does Alondria fit into that type of lifestyle? And those things are really important for the couples. Those are things they really have to talk about. Janae definitely has a background like Chris in a way. I think where she's traveled. She always said she was an army brat, but also with Kenny, his love for travel. If they have these commonalities, yes, it can work. Still not sure about Clark and the farm animals and Taylor, but that's okay. Did watch an interview. She seems to be like, okay. I hope they do make a compromise as I talk about Taylor and Clark for a minute, because it seems to be all about Taylor and his farm, but what about what Clark wants? But I think she can, she's definitely the quieter of the relationship, which is really interesting to see. And that's another thing too. When Clark was with Alondria, he definitely was the quieter one, because Alondria, she's older, right? And that's why he said this in the interview. I watched them on ET today, Taylor and Clark. Yes, I'm going back and forth, but he did say, and he said that on the show, he likes that Clark just lets him be himself and kind of, that kid side, that funny side that he has. And Alondria is more serious. I think she can have fun too. She can get down with the get down. I'm sure her and CHELLEY do that. I wish we saw more of her and CHELLEY's relationship. Oh, and also Clark mentioned that her and CHELLEY, they were quite close and they had a good relationship too and talks, but they didn't show that. There's so many things that the producers leave out because, as I'm aware, they're all to paint different stories of these people, right? What else can I say? So now we're getting to the part about Ace and Shelley. Suddenly, I have like a warm heart toward Ace. I've always liked Shelley, from day one. But you know what? I've said this. I said it about Ace before too. And Taylor said it. I said before, what if Ace is not actually the person who is running everything? What if it's just that he has the biggest voice? I've said that before. What if Nick is really running everything? What if it's really Taylor? Just Ace, he's got that personality, right? And Taylor mentioned that in an interview. He said, who says that Ace is running everything and we're his minions? He's like, I have said that, but when you have a strong personality, I know I have one. Like, I'm the person that will speak up, but yet I'm like what do I ambivert. I'm an introverted and extroverted both, but I definitely am confident enough to speak up and say things where someone else might not be. But it also doesn't mean that I'm running everything, though I probably can relate to Ace and his micromanaging. It's something I had to work on. He's definitely a micromanager, but I also think what I saw from Ace, and I said it before, sometimes insecurities are masked as confidence. No, I think Ace is confident in what he does and everything, but I think where it comes to Shelley, it's he really just wants to be sure. That's just how I feel. I think it's amazing that they're meeting again. What they call it, serendipitous, right? And I did originally think, I said that, I was like, I think like, maybe they had this thing and they met before and they had a secret agreement. As I watch a show, that got debunked for me as like, these two don't know each other like that. They don't. But I am so glad they met again. I'm glad to see their relationship. And it's not just smooth sailing. Some people just get together and it's like, boom, everything's perfect. I love that it's not been perfect. I love that Shelley has had to work to show him that she really cares about him, and Ace has had to work to show her. I love that she told him about the flowers that Chris got her and that he's brought her flowers ever since. He really does a lot of those things and he shows that he cares. He would never have the conversation about being exclusive though. And I was just like, he's still waiting. He's still measuring everything. Young men like him, whether young or old, when they know what they want, they stick to it. And that's how I felt about Ace. So I was really happy last night that I could tell he was building up to ask her to be exclusive or to be his girlfriend. And I loved it when they decided that they could go in the hideaway. I'm not a huge fan of the hideaway, whatever's going on in there. But I know that they do all need their private time, right? But did y'all peep Iris saying like, oh, that she was disappointed because she wanted to go in the hideaway? Okay, Iris and Pepe l'Espanol. But yeah, what I love too is that this show, black women too, the same way I talk about the sexualization of black men, that also happens with black women as well. And I like that Shelley and Alondria, they both really carry themselves with a lot of grace. And I love that. I love that for them. And plus, for me and my old-fashioned self, you know, but okay, I'm gonna leave that till the end. Okay, but so I have here that when Ace and Shelley went to the hideaway and he there's something he said, Lord have mercy. And I've been made aware from somebody else that they pray they pray together every night. I didn't see that, so I definitely heard that from another reviewer. So I think that's beautiful too. Like, Ace is more than just somebody that's going off all the time. And I realize it's reality TV. Like Queen says, she's just watching at the surface. She's not there to try to figure out these things. It's just like what she sees on the show. And I'm always trying to look kind of beyond it, and like looking at the show, and I do really think about the people and their character. I don't know, it's important for me to try to figure that out for the people that I'm really kind of, I guess, invested in as far as in watching the show. But honestly, you see, sometimes it's the simple things. It's the simple things. I know I'm like that. I'm a romantic. You see how he went to draw the heart in the sand? I love that. Like, stuff like that means so much, you know. And then his poem was nice too, because it was also real, like about who he was. And that's the thing, he's found a woman that's strong. She matches his energy. She never threw herself at him. She was consistent. You know, if he was like, I want to explore, and she's like, well, I want to explore too. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, that's where I felt like their competitiveness came in. Whereas, like, I kept saying they're like ships passing in the night, because if Ace is going to do it, Chelle's going to do it. But you could tell that she really liked him regardless. I don't think she really did get to explore. She didn't. He got to explore, but then that got cut off with Iris, because remember, I'm like, oh, there goes Ace again. But then that didn't end up happening. And I think he was so open to everything, you know. But I'm glad that in the end, he was able to focus his energy on Chelly and show her and be expressive, because he doesn't like all the touching and stuff. And look at Ace kissing Chelly. Like, that's what I noticed the most, is how he's so not into that stuff, and he was so affectionate with Chelly. I was like, okay, Ace, I see you. So that's why I just like him, and I like them. I mean, if I could vote, but I'm a kid and I couldn't, definitely they would have been my number one. Like I said, I would have had like them, Taylor and Clark, and then and Amaya, Papaya, and Brian. Like, they would have been in my three that I voted for. So I don't know. Don't know what's going to happen tonight. I'm excited about the families. I love the black women, all of them. Coco, and she has a twin, like Lolo or something. Anyway, I love all of the black women that were on this season. Clark, they're all just women of grace. They're beautiful, beautiful, dynamic, different, you know, not like cookie cutter, they're this type of person or that type of person. So I'm just going to say I appreciated that. But here's something I didn't appreciate. One, and it's not, my friend mentioned this more, and I get it, like, and I think it's because people are like, how can you watch a show if you're so straight-laced? I blank out all during all that stuff, you know, all the sexy stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, did that happen? Oh, is that part of the show? I really focus on like the romance and those things. But one thing I cannot deny is the camera angles this year felt particularly intrusive, I'd like to say, all the time. And I wasn't feeling that. Yeah. Anyways, I do hope that before the next season, the producers, the staff, behind the scenes, the casting agents, that they use due diligence and really think about who they're casting in the show. Great. They continue to find men of all cultures that love black women, and black men that love black women as well. That's so important. And continue to really look for the type of women they had. Such a high caliber, such a great cast. I know this season was, what can we even call it? I don't even know what it was, but I still enjoyed it. There were parts, though, that left me upset sometimes. Like, why is my feel-good show not left me feeling good? But I do hope they can do better. Next is going to be Beyond the Villa. I'm definitely not going to be reviewing it. I already posted about Beyond the Villa. I'm going to watch it, though. And I'm probably going to have to watch Perfect Match, because Justine Nadiba is on it. I've never watched that show. I don't know if I can even take another show. So what I'm thinking I might do is just maybe just peep Justine on the show and being like, Justine did this. And I hope you all know too that Janae's on Destination X right now. I'm not watching that show either. I'm just kind of doing this, trying to live my life. But I have been enjoying season 7 so far. Some nights, not so much. And I'm excited about tonight meeting the parents. It's gonna be a time. So I'm really interested to see what happens tonight. I'm sad that this season is coming to an end so soon, but I'm looking forward to the next few nights and then finding out who's gonna win. Anyways, thank you so much. This is very long, longer than I normally talk for, but I did have a lot of notes. I do take this position that I've put on myself very seriously. I do hope that you ask questions along with some of the questions that I'm asking. I hope you enjoyed my style, though it's a little different. As I said, my name is Amani. Please don't forget to like, hit the thumb, and subscribe. I think I'm at 494 subscribers. I would love to have 500 subscribers, you know, by the end of the season. That would make me feel really good. And I love that people are slowly discovering me. There's so many reviewers now, like it's insane. This show, like my little show has become so popular. But I'm still enjoying it. Anyway, that's it. And like I always say, that's what's up. Can't wait for tonight's show.